Why were Moses and Elijah there with Jesus during the Transfiguration? And also, why were those 3 disciples there? If you ever wondered that, then this video is for you, and probably the one after, because I have a lot. It's going to be 2 videos. We're going to start with Moses, and we're actually going to start back in Exodus when he saw the glory of God for the first time. So we're going to flip to Exodus chapter 33, verse 18. Moses said, "Please show me your glory." And he said, "I will make all my goodness pass before you, and I'll proclaim before you my name, the Lord," or Yahweh. "And I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious, and I will show mercy to whom I will show mercy. But," he said, "you cannot see my face, for a man shall not see me and live." And the Lord said, "Behold, there is a place by me where you shall stand on the rock, while my glory passes by. And I will put you in the cleft of a rock, and I will cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will take away my hand, and you shall see my back, but my face shall not be seen." And then in chapter 34, this actually happens. Moses, okay? Verse 5 says, "The Lord ascended in the cloud and stood with him there and proclaimed the name of the Lord. The Lord passed before him and proclaimed, the Lord, a God merciful, gracious, slow to anger, and abounding in steadfast love and faithfulness, keeping steadfast love for thousands, forgiving iniquity and transgression and sin, but who will by no means clear the guilty, visiting the iniquity of the fathers on the children and the children's children to the 3rd and 4th generation." And Moses quickly bowed his head towards the earth and worshipped. Okay, so the aftermath of this, still in chapter 34, but in verse 30 it said, verse 29, when Moses came down from Mount Sinai, it says this, "The skin of his face shone," because he had been talking with God. "Aaron and all the people of Israel saw Moses, and behold, the skin of his face shone, and they were afraid to come near him." So then he put a veil over his face, and then anytime he went to speak with the Lord, he would put a veil over his face when he left so as not to terrify Israel, because he's glowing. That's weird. Of course they're going to be afraid of that. But it's important to understand what was happening during this. The Lord is making a covenant with Israel. He's making a covenant with mankind. He's saying, "Here are my laws that I'm setting before you. Obey them and I will bless you. Obey them and this is how you attain righteousness. Obey them because this is what I mean when I say be holy, because I am holy." And this is the covenant that he made with Moses. Now we're going to talk about Elijah, because in 1 Kings chapter 19, Elijah is fleeing from Jezebel, okay? He's fleeing. She has brought in the prophets of Baal. She is trying to kill all the prophets of God, and I'm pretty sure at this point she has succeeded all but him in killing the prophets of God. So he's discouraged. He is running for his life. He's literally laying in the middle of a wilderness asking God if he can die. He is literally laying there just ready to give up. And the angel of the Lord, capital, the angel of the Lord, the word of the Lord, came to him and gave him a little cake, and it made him good to be without food for 40 days. 40 days, that's always a birth of a promise right after that. So this is what it says in verse 8. "He arose and ate and drank and went in the strength of that food 40 days and 40 nights to Horeb, the mount of God." Then you come down here to verse 9, and it said, "There he came to a cave, lodged in it, and behold, the word of the Lord came to him." Oh, where have we heard that before? Oh yeah, John 1:1. "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." So Jesus. Okay, let's keep going. "What are you doing here, Elijah?" he said. "I have come very jealous for the Lord, the God of hosts, for the people of Israel have forsaken your covenant, thrown down your altars, killed your prophets with the sword, and I am the only one left, and they seek my life to take it away." And he said, "Go out and stand on the mount before the Lord." He said, the word of the Lord said was a he, because it's Jesus. Okay, let's keep going. He said, "Go out and stand on the mount before the Lord, and behold, the Lord passed by." And I love this part. I don't know why I love this part so much. Listen. "And the Lord passed by, and a great and strong wind tore the mountains and broke the pieces of the rock before the Lord, but the Lord was not in the wind. And after the wind, an earthquake, but the Lord was not in the earthquake. And after the earthquake, a fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. But after the fire, the sound of a low whisper, and a still and quiet voice. And when Elijah heard it, he wrapped his face in his cloak and went out and stood at the entrance of the cave. And behold, there came a voice to him and said, 'What are you doing here, Elijah?' And he said, 'I have been very jealous for the Lord, the God of hosts, for the people Israel have forsaken your covenant.'" You hear right here, Moses saw the glory of God when God was making this covenant. And now Elijah is seeing this glory of God as the only one left clinging to the covenant. And how does this play into the Transfiguration? Well, think about it. Think about it. First, I actually want to point something else out to you because it's interesting. Because right after this, I see a foreshadowing of the disciples of Christ. Right here in the call of Elisha, he said he departed from there and found Elisha, son of Shaphat, who was plowing with 12 yoke of oxen in front of him. He was with. So right here in verse 19, so he departed from there and found Elisha, the son of Shaphat, who was plowing with 12 yoke of oxen in front of him. 12 disciples, 12 tribes, Jesus. Okay, and then he said, Elijah saying, hey, come with me. Come with me. And he literally drops everything he's doing and runs after Elijah. And then also he took the yoke of oxen and sacrificed them. He sacrificed them and gave it to the people. The disciples lost their lives for the testimony of Jesus Christ. All but probably John, but I mean, you know, they all suffered the cup that he drank from. What does this have to do with the Transfiguration, though? This has to do with the fact that they saw the glory of God in a moment where they were either making a covenant or seeing the covenant be broken. And then, I don't know, there's a speculation on this app where they're saying maybe this happened, the Transfiguration happened in real time for both Moses and Elijah. And this was that moment where they saw the glory of God. Because when Jesus was transfigured, he would have been outside time, space, and matter because his flesh was the only thing holding him back. He, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. So possibly, but I don't believe so because guess what? Neither man had their face covered. In the Transfiguration, they were standing there with Jesus. They were seeing the promise. They were seeing the face of God, the thing they weren't allowed to see before, because no man could look on the face of God and live, and yet there they are, looking upon the face of God and living and speaking with him face to face. It was a promise fulfilled. But what does this have to do with the 3 disciples that were with them?